Welcome back everyone. Today we're going to be looking at another Piers Morgan video. This one was released immediately after the ceasefire deal was announced. There was a couple of panelists on the show, but we're going to be particularly focusing on the discussion between New York Times writer Wajahat Ali and American commentator Dave Rubin. Let's get straight into it.
Breaking news as we started this, Donald Trump has got on his Truth Social platform. We have a deal for hostages in the Middle East. They will be released shortly. Thank you. The BBC also reporting a deal between Israel and Hamas has been agreed. It's a complex deal. It involves the release of 30-odd hostages over a period of 6-7 weeks and many more Palestinians being released from jail and various other security guarantees and ceasefires and so on. All multi-layered, complex, has to be seen whether A, this is official, which it looks like it may be in the next day or two, and secondly, if it's workable and if it actually gets carried out. But what is your gut reaction to the sort of overall deal that is apparently in play here?
You know, I've been on your show for the past 15 months, Piers, and you and I have talked about what's been happening. I think initially, October, you and I agreed that what Hamas did was a terrorism attack. It was atrocious. Israel had a right to respond. But you and I have also seen the devastation of the past 15 months. The Lancet just came out with this is peer-reviewed study that said actually the casualties might be 40% more, Piers. So right now we know that 45,000 Palestinians have been killed. That could be up to 65,000, 70,000. We know Israel has bombed churches. I know Michael cares a lot about churches right now, but I'm curious to see if he's okay with Israel bombing churches, mosques. It has killed UN workers. It has killed journalists. It has not allowed journalists inside to look at the damage. It has actually killed refugees. It has bombed refugee camps. It has bombed UN workers. More children have been killed in the past 2 years in Gaza than all the war zones combined in the past 2 years, right? Right now, we know that the majority of the people that have been killed have been women, children, and the elderly, civilians. So in this particular case, we've heard this before in the summer, right? There was a deal. What's the best deal? Ceasefire, hostages. There are about 100 Israeli hostages who are still captured by Hamas. I talked to a father of an Israeli hostage, Yehuda Cohen, who blames Netanyahu for the current situation. He says that Netanyahu is to blame for being belligerent, for advancing this war, for rejecting the ceasefire deal when it was in place, right, in the summer. It was President Biden. Remember that, Piers? I was on your show. President Biden came out and said, hey, this is Israel's deal. Let's do it. And they keep slow walking it because they have an expansionist view. They want everything from the river to the sea.
Regarding the ceasefire deal that was announced just yesterday, The Guardian is currently doing an hourly tracker since the announcement to show how things are progressing. It states that Israel's Security Cabinet are yet to meet to approve the ceasefire deal and will vote on it tomorrow, Friday. So we're being told polar opposites to what's actually going on. On one hand, we're being told it's approved. On the other hand, we're being told the Israelis haven't even discussed it, never mind approving it. It also states that since the ceasefire deal yesterday, Wednesday, a further 80 people have died. Not only that, but Israeli Minister Itamar bin Gvir threatens to quit if Israel approves a ceasefire deal.
I hope this time, Piers, and I said this before on your show, whether it's Trump who does it, whether it's Biden who does it, the war has to end. Ceasefire deal for the hostages. Bring the hostages home, do a ceasefire deal, end this bombing, end this pain, end this suffering. A genocide, according to Amnesty International, a genocide, according to Human Rights Watch, a genocide, according to Israeli scholars of genocide who've been saying it for a while. This particular situation where both Hamas leaders and Netanyahu are war criminals, according to the ICC, end this once and for all. If it happens, then maybe, just maybe, there could be some peace. You need rebuilding humanitarian aid in Gaza. You need the Gazans who've been displaced to come back to the north. You need the hostages to be released. So if it can happen, Piers, I don't care if it's Trump who does it. I don't care if it's in the last week of Biden. Has to be done. Okay.
We lost Michael. We'll bring in let's bring in Dave as his running mate. Dave, we'll bring you in here because we lost Michael Knowles there.
God probably intervened in that one.
Michael is a bit more of an expert on the Crusades, but I think I can handle the rest of it. Look, everyone wants an end to the war, and the war could have been over on October 8th. All they had to do was release all of the hostages, and no one would have been supporting any sort of military action, right? That's obvious and real, and we all know it. Hamas has intentionally placed civilians in the way. We all know that as well. There is no genocide. I would love to hear any panelists call for Egypt to open up the border and let all the Gazans in, but no Arab country, no Muslim country wants any of the Palestinians. There never was a Palestinian state, and if there was, tell me who the prime minister was. This is just an endless assault on Israel. There's not going to be peace in any real way. There's no such thing as the two-state solution. There never were two states. Palestine used to be the place that the Jews lived. A lot of Jews just celebrated Hanukkah. You know where Hanukkah took place? The Judean Hills, which we now unfortunately call the West Bank, but that's because the Jews lived there. So this is largely, we can get into the, okay, they're going to, give away 30 hostages, or they're going to get one hostage back for 30 Palestinians who have blood on their hands or anything else. That tells you right there who actually values life here. So it'll be nice to get back some people, and hopefully Americans. As an American, I do hope that the 5 or 6 Americans who have been held will return. But I'm not bullish on peace or anything else at the moment.
What really gets me is, do people like Dave really have any interest in the well-being of innocent people? The real question is, does Israel even care about the hostages? The ceasefire deal was initially announced last spring. It was rejected. Even the current deal is yet to be approved, so there isn't any certainty. He then mentions Hamas have intentionally placed civilians in the way that they have. What does that even mean? They picked up civilians and placed them wherever they like, as if it was some sort of chessboard? This guy is lost. He states that other countries should open up their borders for the Palestinians. Why? Why should they leave? Not long before the Nakba, the Ottomans were in power. Jews, Christians and Muslims lived in peace. The problem came when Eastern European Jews were allowed to enter and live in Palestine.
Julie, what do you feel about this? I mean, it's obviously an extraordinarily complex situation. I don't think there'll be any clean way out of this for many years. But do you feel that this deal, which they're talking about, is at least a step in the right direction?
Yeah, you're absolutely right that it's too complex to lend itself to short sound bites. It's a deal, right? And it's a deal. I'm happy for the families whose loved ones are being released. But I think Dave did touch on something. I don't agree with a lot of what he said, but he did touch on something, which is, I don't know what the end solution to this is. Because you had Ariel Sharon give Gaza, effectively give the land that Gaza's, the Gazan land right now, to the Palestinians. And in an election, they elected Hamas after a short period of time. And so what do you do if you're Israeli when you have that kind of threat on your border? It's not to excuse what the Israelis are doing in the West Bank right now. It's absolutely atrocious, and I say that as somebody who has a lot of family in Israel, and I don't support it. I'm fully for the two-state solution, but it has to be two states where one of those states is not run by a terrorist organization like Hamas.
No, it doesn't have to be a two-state solution, though. There's no reason for anyone to think there should be a two-state solution. They can go to Jordan, they can go to Egypt. Gaza was part of Egypt, remember? West Bank was part of Jordan. Judea and Samaria was part of Jordan.
Why would they have to go to Jordan and Egypt when they've been living on this land for generations? I mean, the reality is,
well, if they're being genocided and all of the other things that the other panelists said right there, they might want to look into that. You might want to, if any of that is true.
I hope you guys got that. The true colors of a Zionist. Clearly he doesn't accept a two-state solution. I wonder why. Maybe it's because it goes against the greater Israel ideology and prevents them from having a single Jewish state. That's probably the reason why they are yet to discuss and approve the ceasefire deal. Maybe it's not what Israel wants. Let's face it, how does the ceasefire deal benefit Israel? The hostages? It benefits the families. Are hostages beneficial to the long-term plan of Israel? No.
Right. Israeli governments, whether they're Labour or Likud, have never tried ending the occupation in the West Bank, in East Jerusalem, and in Gaza. What they haven't done is end the settlements. The settlements have actually expanded.
The British mandate expired, and then all the Arab countries tried to destroy Israel. They lost the war.
There's 2.5 million Palestinians who live under military law. There's about 750,000 Israelis who live under Israeli law. An unequal system. You've been there, Piers. I've been there. It's horrifying. This is why Desmond Tutu and Jimmy Carter, rest in peace, called it what? Apartheid. Their words, not mine. I've been there. I've seen it. We are complicit in it. Hamas is not in control. There's no excuse. We have Ben Gvir, the national security minister, a man who Israeli reporters told me is like, imagine if the KKK was elected as a national security minister. That's the national security minister under Netanyahu. Netanyahu has openly said, I want river to the sea. He laughed and mocked and said, aha, I have blocked the peace deal. I have blocked two-state solutions. When President Biden said end settlements, he added 3,000 more settlements. When President Biden said don't bomb Rafah,
Jews not
he
be
bombed
allowed to
Rafah.
live in Judea,
when President
the
Biden said
ancient land
don't
of
kill
Israel?
civilians, he bombed the World Trade Central kitchen staff. Remember that? It is a chaos to the point where everyone in the world, except in U.S. and except in Israel, they see Israel as becoming a pariah, increasingly an extremist Jewish supremacist state. If it was up to David, river to the sea, let Israel do what it wants and continue the occupation. Dave said Palestinians don't exist. There's no such thing as Palestinians. So David, today, you have gone on the side against justice and on the side of Pete Hegseth. But since you're so good on TV, wait, let me finish. I let you say your hateful stuff. Let me finish. Since you're so good on TV, based on your own logic, you should replace Mike Huckabee as the ambassador to Israel.
All right.
You're great on TV.
Guys, we're going to end it there. You heard it for yourself. Dave Rubin outright denying everything, denying a two-state solution, denying it's a genocide, and stating that the Palestinians are the ones who should leave. Wajahat Ali did a very good job, and also the lady as well. So hats off to both of them. But more importantly, I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. So let me know what you think about the discussion and what your thoughts are. Support me by liking and subscribing. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Peace out.